So who is the Maid of Sker?
Whoa, what?
So Maid of Sker is an indie horror game that is a weird mix of stealth and walking simulator, which is a weird thing to say because normally you'd just say it's got exploration and puzzles, but in this case the game can literally be played as a walking simulator. When you start a new game, on the difficulty options you've got the option for safe mode, which removes all of the enemies, all of the stealth, and most of the challenge. Okay, I think I've got to get the timing. Yeah, that zaps him. I think I can zap him. Oh, shit. Oh, that just made him mad. The game starts with our main character Thomas on a train to the Sker Hotel, going over a mysterious letter he received from his lover Elizabeth, which asks him to compose a very specific piece of music and tells him not to go to the hotel. Thinking this is weird, he composes the music and then goes to the hotel. When he gets there, he finds that all the people have turned into these rabid blind monsters, and the hotel's internal phone is ringing. He picks up and it's Elizabeth on the phone, telling him that the only way to stop this is to find these 4 musical cylinders. So thus begins our journey. Here we go. Right, time to fall for the obvious death trap. There's no combat in this game, so as you explore and try to find the cylinders, you'll have to sneak around the hotel's inhabitants. They are all blind and only react to sound, which means that sneaking around them can range from hilariously easy to incredibly slow and frustrating. In open areas, you can literally just walk around enemies with no consequence, but to compensate for this, most of the Sker Hotel is made up of narrow corridors which don't give you enough room to slip past. At times like this, you just have to wait for the enemy to either get out of your way or reach a particularly spacious corner, leaving enough room for you to stand there and wait for the enemy to walk past. Got like a Santa's costume, put it on this 12-foot skeleton, it became the Christmas skeleton. That made noises. Shouldn't have done that. When an enemy gets too close to you, they can hear you breathing, which means you have to hold your breath. This can lead to some very tense moments as you pray they'll leave before you run out of oxygen. Unfortunately, all this tension is relieved when you remember where the nearest safe room is. Safe rooms are dotted all over the map and enemies can't enter them. There's also a save point in there. When you save, it becomes a new respawn point, which means that if you get spotted by an enemy, you can run to the safe room and then wait until it's safe to leave, or if you really get caught, you can just let the enemy kill you, you'll respawn at the safe room and have lost maybe 30 seconds of progress. You can't get me! I'm in the safe room! Yeah, how'd you like that? I'm exploiting game mechanics! As you explore the hotel, you'll also have to solve puzzles Resident Evil style. Most of the puzzles are relatively easy. I don't think I got stuck on any particular one for very long. However, they are still challenging enough to be satisfying. Often the hardest part of the puzzle will be finding the piece you need somewhere else on the map. Oh, what's this? What is that? A beer tap. Ah, beer tap. That's one puzzle solved. Speaking of the map, you do have a map that you can open anytime, and it will highlight anything that's important to you, whether that's puzzles, locked doors, or pickups. I also found the map really useful in general. There are a lot of times where I'd be spotted by an enemy, run to the safe room, and then I'd have to open the map to get my bearings and plan out my next route, which I found oddly enjoyable. It turned random exploration into something more tactical. We're speed running. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna run, and there's one down. Ouch, my face. There are very few jump scares in this game, and the few jump scares they have aren't overly loud or jarring, which I think most people will appreciate. Most of the horror comes from the creepy, foreboding atmosphere of exploring a semi-abandoned hotel and the tension that comes from praying these faceless people don't find you. I was like, oh, maybe it doesn't lead to anything. The hell? That was the first time we've had a good jump scare. That was the first time we had a decent jump scare. We're halfway through the game as well. Although I appreciate how creepy the dark hotel is, I often found it was a bit too dark and I couldn't see anything. Often I'd miss a lot of important items, but thankfully they are all shown on the map. I was suspicious of him. I thought he'd be evil. My god, that's so creepy. The story in this game is really rather average. It's set in 19th century British folklore, which is a really cool setting, but I found all the characters to be rather forgettable, even if the 19th century dialogue is oddly rather charming. Although the story is quite plain, I think it is told really rather well. There are notes scattered around everywhere which help to explain things and add depth, and most horror games would be satisfied with just that, but Maid of Sker is filled with audio recordings and phone calls with Elizabeth to help keep you engaged. So how often can I use this thing? Is that coil like an ammo count? Some good hydration. Is this just crying? Is this entire recording just crying? The game is quite short. I myself completed it in 3.5 hours, although apparently the average is 4.5 hours, which I think is actually a good thing for this game. I think if it was over 8 hours long, sneaking around the hotel would start to drag on, but as it is with a 4-hour playthrough, it just makes it into a neat little package. Oh. I love the way those grates open. They're great. They just fall. Overall, I had fun with this game. There's nothing about it that's particularly outstanding, but at the same time there's nothing wrong with it either. Overall, it's just pretty decent. If you like these stealth horror games, and you're interested by the idea of 19th century British folklore, Maid of Sker is probably worth picking up, although you may want to wait for it to go on sale. But the original story is birds. Number 4! That's number 4. We need 4 of these to save the world. And I've got 4 now. So we're great. Oh, nope. Oh no. No, please. Oh, he hasn't... Apparently he didn't hit